I was thinking today about, I was already thinking, oh, I'm sorry, I'll use the proper meditation terminology. I was reflecting on spaciousness and silence. It's an interesting thing about the way human sensory and perception, neurologically speaking, works in the brain. Humans don't like absences. This is actually one of the number one ways that visual, what do they call it? What do they call it where it's a trick? It's a... Illusion. One more time? Illusion. What? Illusion? That's good. But what do they call it where someone draws it's like a bunny or it's a duck?
Optical illusion.
Optical illusion, thank you. Humans, a lot of optical illusions are made with negative spaces. Because humans, like all prey animals, or all, no claws, no teeth, soft body, be careful. Like all animals, we need to be careful, right? We're only here because the survival adaptations of our ancestors got us here. So a lot of what's running in our mind and in our lives is survival adaptations, which are great for survival, not always great for happiness or insight or clear seeing. So it's a really interesting thing where maybe you've heard of pareidolia, which is that thing that humans do where we're always looking for faces. So someone sees, the face of Jesus in their toast or something, and it's like really significant for them. Or, and not to downplay it, I mean, whatever works, but humans have trouble seeing clearly a lot of the time. And one of the things we have trouble seeing is absence. So there's the ancient tale of the teacher who tells his student, very out of character for this very peaceful teacher, says, this rat has been troubling the monastery, take it out back and kill it, don't let anyone see. And the monk takes it out back and stops and goes back and says, but teacher, I would see. And the teacher says, very good, you would see, let it go. Or the person who is told to go count all the nuns the nun who's told to go count all the nuns in the meditation hall. And they count all the nuns and they come back and they're like, that can't be right, we're missing one. And they count, because they're not counting themselves. We have trouble often noticing what's not there, noticing the space. And this is one of the major kind of ways of opening into emptiness or opening into boundlessness or opening into a more spacious way of being. Because the way our cognition works, if you're sitting there very peacefully and then you have a thought that troubles you, the thought seems to become the biggest thing in the whole world. The thought hasn't changed shape. Thoughts don't have shape or size. But cognition shrinks to fit. It becomes the biggest thing in the room. If you're sitting meditating and your knee starts to hurt, your knee is now the size of the entire meditation hall. It's the only thing you can think about. This is the way our cognition works. It always will find the object, and usually the most magnetizing, polarizing, activating object, and then shrink around it. And part of the path work of meditation is to say, wait, and come back to spaciousness. Because your awareness is always the biggest thing there. You're hearing my voice, you're hearing my voice, you're feeling your clothing upon your skin, you can hear the fan, you can hear the sounds outside, you can remember what you were doing before you came, etc., etc., etc. Awareness always has more room. It never runs out of space. It's like the vast sky. The great teachers say, mind is the vast sky. Thoughts and sensations and feelings are the clouds and winds and currents that move through it. Okay. So I was reflecting on that today, and I happened upon a quote. Silence isn't just an absence. It's an invitation to openness. And this goes for everything. Right now, in the field of the sense of touch, you're feeling all the sensory contact in the field of touch. But there's also absence, there's also spaciousness, there's also openness there that can never be filled. You can always feel another point of sensory contact. How many thoughts did you have today? I had quite a few, and a lot of them were self-critical and anxious and ruminative. And some of them were peaceful and loving and kind and happy. And somehow my mind never runs out of space for thoughts. There are countless sounds arising and passing away in the room around us. And somehow the sense of hearing never runs out of space. So, we're going to do a little guided bit on spaciousness, openness. So if you're not already, I invite you to get or maybe take a second, get a sip of something, roll your shoulders. Very often in meditation, we practice gathering our attention onto an object. The breath as the object, or the sensations of the body as the object, or even a verse of a teaching, a concept, a beautiful quality of heart like loving kindness or compassion. And yet, in a way, we're kind of pulling a fast one. When we gather our attention onto a singular object, we have, in fact, let go of the entire rest of the universe, the 10,000 things. We are opening into a more spacious way of being. It's almost like steps or a ladder. We come from our busy lives, doing this and that, all of our duties and responsibilities, the richness of our lives. And then we come to practice and we settle. We feel the beautiful body, the five senses and the thoughts and the feelings. And then maybe we bring our attention to the breath. And one way of looking at practice, one way of looking at the meditation, is that we can start to hold whatever the final object is in a more open and loose way. Until the object in the foreground, like the breath, reveals itself to be shot through with space. Reveals its essence to be boundless emptiness. So to begin, I invite you to come to this moment, letting go all of your duties, responsibilities, goals, and agendas. Coming to rest in the now. With nothing else to do. With nowhere else to go. And with no one else to be. Beginning with the sense of touch. So many thousands of points of sensory contact arising in touch. Clothing upon our skin. Maybe feeling the bottoms of our feet on the ground. Or the sides, ankles, shins, and knees. The warmth and contact and pressure of however we're sitting. Noticing the backs of our thighs, sit bones and buttocks on the chair, cushion, or bench. The gentle pressure of our hands in our laps. Contact of our lips, teeth, and tongue in the inside of our mouth. And if our eyes are closed, the gentle, soft pressure of our eyelids touching. Moving on to include the sounds that are falling into our open ears second by second. Sounds from outside, sounds from inside. The sound of your neighbor's breath, the sound of your breath, the sound of my voice. Even with our eyes closed or half closed, there's light and shadow, patternings of light, shadow on our eyelids or entering our eyes. There's smells in our noses and tastes in our mouths. And there's room for all of this. This is the infinite hospitality of your awareness. I invite you to take a minute and just see if you can feel your way into that spaciousness. There are countless thousands of sensory inputs, contacts arising and passing away, and yet take a few breaths and see if you can feel into that spacious hospitality. It is by meeting this swirling patterning of experience with openness, with kindness and compassion, that we are able to notice the spaciousness that is already always there. And now I invite you to bring your breath into the foreground. With no need to control or manage your breath. Simply bringing our attention to what is already happening. When you find yourself, quote, distracted, another breath will present itself to you, to be known by you. And another. Let's take a few moments and just pull up a chair next to the breath and watch it roll in and roll out like waves, like the tide, like the breeze. Now I want to invite you to soften your focus on the breath. It's not that you're putting the breath away. It's that you're opening the hand that holds the breath so that it can accommodate everything. And in the last few moments of this period, I invite you to let go of any preference whatsoever. Allow the swirling patterning of experience to flow through you with no resistance whatsoever. If you like, allow yourself to slowly move or stretch. Allow your eyes to open if they want to.